My name is Ute Luxen and I live at 23 Ross Road in Durham, New Hampshire. I'm here because of the bike lane, because frankly I'm waiting for that since 1997, and it is very dangerous to ride your bike along Route 108. It is a state road and it's being ridden fairly fast. It has a lot of areas within Newmarket, between Newmarket and Durham, that are very tight, and a lot of them are not really visible. So taking your bike down Route 108 is a bet for your life at this point of time. If we really want to improve alternative transportation, or even offer some recreational access to our areas that are further down towards Newmarket, it is really appropriate to put a bike lane in. And I would really like to see the council take any step possible to get that done.
I was thrilled when I heard that you'd be having a presentation tonight from the DOT on increasing the bike lanes on 108. I live south of here in the area that's in question. In 2006, I built a house down the road, anticipating that bike lanes would go in. I rode my bike, I ran, I drove on 108 for 3 years, patiently waiting for the bike lanes, which were promised in 2009. They didn't materialize. I didn't hear why. I was a little apprehensive, and I drive that road every day in a heightened state of alert because it's not safe. I hope that you use the influence that you have to get the bike lanes put in place. It's a matter of time before we have tragedy, and it would be irresponsible if we didn't do so much.
Hi, my name is Brent Bell, and I live here in Durham on Mill Pond Road. I guess this right now seems like an uncontroversial issue, but I'd very much like to support this the bike path. And I can say that in the late 80s, I took a 5,000-mile bike trip across the country, started at UNH, and I headed down this road my first few miles, and I can say in those 5,000 miles, it's one of the sketchiest in the country. So I will do that.
Hi, Mike Hoffman, 300 Durham Point Road. I am also here to speak in favor of this project from two different perspectives. One, the bike route. It was interesting on my way up here. I passed two commuters riding their bicycles in twilight conditions. The white line sometimes is on grass or gravel, and motorists seem to believe that bicyclists should always be on the right-hand side, so they feel the need to brush bicyclists if they're on the left-hand side of the white line. I know a friend of mine who was hit by a rearview mirror and stopped riding this road. UNH has told their people on numerous occasions not to ride this road. When I was on the Energy Committee, I chose to ride it one time to see how bad it was. I'm not doing that again. We have had accidents with bicycles and cars on that road. And it's just a matter of time before something else happens horrible. And it's just unfortunate that we cut off a part of our town that can't ride their bike downtown. They can't let their kids ride to their friends' houses because that's the link. Now, that's also a vital link, as was mentioned, the Seabrook evacuation route. That's a link to one of our nearest hospitals. And in my some 20 plus years of being here, this road has been blocked completely by flooding on 3 different occasions. 2 of them were 100-year floods, and the big flood wasn't a 100-year flood, but that's because of the rainfall issue. It knocked out our access. It knocked out the ability of kids to go to school for some period of time. We actually had the National Guard bringing this in. If I might approach the map a little bit, I find it interesting because I see the same thing over and over again. This is all Oyster River watershed, yet this road acts as a levee and prevents water from passing harmlessly into the Oyster River and not flooding our neighbors in Newmarket on Cedar Street, Piscassic Street. A number of these homes flood with water filling the basements and getting above the first floor. And it's because this road channels all the water and prevents it from entering the floodplain, which ends up going way down over here harmlessly into the Oyster River and along that moat that was built in the 30s. So that's an important aspect that I think that sometimes we forget until we have those major flooding events And we don't have our link to the hospitals, we don't have mutual aid, we don't have access to some of our townspeople for ambulances, for fire protection. They're paying full fee, and they deserve to get police, fire, and ambulance protection, and bus service, not in the back of a deuce and a half. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else to speak?
Good evening, I'm Steve Pesci from the University of New Hampshire Planning Office, and I'm just here to express support to the towns of Durham and Newmarket and to the DOT to expedite this project. It was 1998 when it was approved. I believe I was on the State Enhancements Committee that approved it at the time, and it's hard to believe I'd be standing here this many years later, let alone 8 years since our last public meeting. That's just too long, and obviously you've heard a lot of the reasons why. And as Mike just stated, the university, we do tell our faculty, staff, and students that they should not bike on 108. It's just not safe. I would like to suggest to the DOT that in the interim, as the final designs are developed, that this might be an appropriate corridor to place at either end one of the signs alerting drivers to the new state law to move 3 feet over. And I think that would be a great interim step. It's a step, at least, while we work towards the final project. The university has been working in collaboration with the town every year, reinforcing to the Stratford MPO and the DOT that this is one of our highest public safety items in the region for pedestrians and bikes on this corridor. And I wanted to throw another issue on the table. A lot has changed in the corridor in 14 years. The road's degraded, there have been a lot of flooding incidents, and what was a very simple bike shoulder project 14 years ago obviously has grown into a much more complex reconstruction project, and we understand that. I'd like to also throw on the table something in relation to transit in the corridor. In 1999, when this project was approved, the Wildcat transit system carried just about 97,000 people, the whole system. Route 5, the Newmarket route, is the largest of our 3 routes. Today, our last fiscal year, we carried 291,000, or a 3-fold increase in transit ridership, and that's replicated on this corridor as well. If any of you drive down this road during an academic weekday, you'll see people standing all along the corridor at what are essentially just bus stop signs. There is very little infrastructure for a waiting transit passenger. Many times they're standing on the edge of the road in grass and gravel. Sometimes we're able to put up a flashing LED beacon, but that's it. So I'd like to throw on the table, as the DOT looks at the improvements for the bike corridors, that we can also see if there aren't any opportunities to make those same improvements work for the transit passengers, i.e. with bus pullouts or at some of our stops. I think that would be a great enhancement, and given that we have seen such a dramatic increase in ridership in transit, I think it would be welcomed. I know traffic has increased on the road as well, but not 3-fold in 14 years. So I want to just thank the DOT for coming this evening. I'm looking forward to the presentation. And if there's anything the university can do to assist with this project, we're happy to help.
Thank you. Is there anyone else to speak?
Hi. Good evening, Brian Getz, resident of Durham and member of the Energy Committee. Also a supporter of this Route 108 project. Avid bicyclist myself, live in the area, access Bennett Road through Longmarsh, and have to say that I'm one of these crazy cyclists that keeps logging my miles. So I've done 1,500 miles this year and not 1 mile on this stretch of road. And believe me, it's the last option I would take to go to Newmarket. I've taken, Durham Point, nice on a Sunday, a little rough on Saturday when people are going to the transfer station, but still much better than this. But I took some time this weekend to take a look at the website. DOT has some great information, and get myself familiar with the project. I wasn't around when it initiated, but certainly see that there's a lot of work that went into the preliminary design of this and where we're at today. And certainly wouldn't want to throw an iron in the fire with some comments, but it's not built yet, so do have some comments to speak from experience and my own thoughts as I ride a bicycle. Even every time I drive a car, I'm thinking about bicycling, and mention things to my wife as I see somebody real dark outfit riding a bicycle, and why don't they wear bright clothes? You know, it's just it's plain and simple. But things like that, though, on this, you know, direct experience of bicycling too. My wife and I, 16 years ago, rode our bicycles across the country together, New York City to San Francisco. It was great. We encountered every kind of roadway you can imagine. Of course, the best were the times we were able to get off-road and be on a bicycle trail, you know, ride side by side, talk, have a great, you know, usually nice light ride. But once you get on the roads, we found, and personally, I mean, I can read the books, I've read studies, I've talked to everybody else about bicycle trails and paths and everything else. 2 to 3 foot shoulder works great. When you get up to 4 or 5 foot shoulder, I know they're considering this, the cars love it because that's when they start driving faster. Just look at Route 125 or Route 4. I ride Route 4. It's okay, but somebody made a great comment. I think it was Steve Pesci I was talking to about another project, but you know, I wouldn't, though my daughter's older than 8 now, I wouldn't let an 8-year-old ride on Route 4. So you have to think about that. And so certainly as this project moves forward, traffic calming has to be a big part of it. I walked here from my house to get a little air on my way here and notice, you know, you notice these things. You think 40 miles an hour is not fast, but when you're walking, you know, 40, 50 miles an hour. So as this road gets improved, right now the fact that it has narrow and not big wide shoulders and stuff gives drivers, they have to be a bit more attentive. When they've got this wide, I'll just call it a drag strip to drive on, they're just gonna, boy, you know, I'm saving 30 seconds to get to Newmarket. So certainly I'd like DOT to think about traffic calming on the way. And the other is, again, as Mike talked about, the access to Durham Point Road. I noticed on the plans, I mean, they have the shoulder, they have the turn lane, they have that, but I see nothing about if you're heading south and you want to go turn onto Durham Point Road on a bicycle, you know, how are you going to do that? I wouldn't do that. I got to be honest, I go on the sidewalk and bop over that way. It's the safest route. My daughter does it. She's 15, and that's how, you know, I feel much more comfortable than her trying to be in that left lane with cars right now, you know, going around or whatever, and you don't, there's no line of sight or anything for somebody on a bicycle. So again, if there's further meetings on this, it'll be great to speak to those, and appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anyone else to speak?
Good evening. I'm Mark Ambrosi from Stratford Regional Planning Commission, and I want to talk in support, first of all, about the Route 108 project we have here. I think a lot of the most important reasons for doing this project have already been talked about. Just to reiterate a few of these issues, it really does have huge traffic volume on this road. For its design capacity, it's way over. There are about 17,000 cars a day going on this stretch of road right here. It's obviously not very wide, and it's really falling apart at this point. The shoulders are, you know, I think somebody commented already, the white line is off in the grass in a couple spots, and it's not doing great. And it's time to make the improvements to the road that it needs to have done. Really applaud DOT for, I guess, getting back on top of this project, coming to speak with us tonight about the project. This project has become, I think, much more than just a bike shoulders project. It's really become a whole road reconstruction. They're doing a lot of grade changes in certain parts. They're trying to deal with some of the flooding issues on the road and trying to do some improvements on drainage. And so, you know, it has taken longer than we would have liked to see it come to fruition, but hopefully we're moving in that direction now. And yeah, we really support this project. I guess another note about this project, at the Stratford Regional Planning Commission, our Technical Advisory Committee and our Policy Committees both voted this as the top project in our region for the most recent 10-year plan period. So this happened last fall. We submitted this as our top project, and you know, we're really looking forward to seeing this happen. It really needs to. It's a dangerous road, and I think the improvements will, you know, make everybody happy. So that's good. On another note, I'm also here on behalf of my coworker Kyle Pimentel, who's wanted to speak for a minute just to clarify some some issues and a topic that's coming up in a little bit here about the Oyster River Management Plan. I think there's some confusion and maybe some discussion that's going to be happening about the in-stream flow levels that are on the Lamprey River currently, and they have caused some I guess controversy about how much water can be drawn off the river. So the in-stream flow is, just first and foremost, it's a completely different animal than the Oyster River Corridor Plan. The in-stream flow is another regulation put forth by New Hampshire, and I believe for all rivers that are designated and protected, this eventually will be going into place for these rivers. I know they're doing 2 studies now. One of the studies is on the Lamprey. These are pilot programs to figure out, I think, what the appropriate levels are and what the impacts are from the studies. At this point, these are 2-year pilots. They aren't done yet, and I don't believe that anything will be implemented until after these pilots are finished. In addition to that, Kyle wanted me to talk a little bit about the river management plan in the context of providing information for the studies. The information for the inflow or in-stream flow study would probably be provided by the nomination that's already taken place. So most of that information is already established. The river management plan is more part of the Durham master plan. It would be a set of goals and a set of I guess steps to achieve those goals moving forward, and the plan would be implemented by the community. It's you don't have to adhere to anything in the plan. It's very similar to a town's master plan. And as another point, I guess Kyle wanted me to bring up was just about the work that Durham's been doing with the EPA, dealing with the nutrient loading in the bodies of water. And so Durham is already, I don't know if you're required to do a watershed management plan for the entire town, but this corridor plan would really fit nicely in with that watershed management plan. And they're kind of a little bit of synergy here where they're coming together at about the same time, so you could probably fold them into each other to some extent. So.
My name is Dave Glista. I live at 28 Ross Road in Durham. I guess I'm probably either the bravest or the stupidest guy in the room. Lived here since 1998, and I commuted with my bike up and down this road probably about 7,500 miles, about 1,500 times to and from work, and still standing. But I'll agree with everything that's been said. It is very dangerous. That's why a lot of my neighbors and friends won't even venture out there, so I can understand how UNH would recommend not taking out there. But yeah, I've been to a number of these hearings over the past 14 years, and people ask me, well, how's the bike pack or bike lane? I said, yeah, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And we'll get another notice, yeah, we'll get this plan, 2012, 2013, 2014. So, I don't want to wait another 14 years for this. My kids have kind of come and gone. They kind of missed the opportunity to enjoy this. There's another generation out there. Let's get this done and benefit the community.
Thank you. Is there anyone else to speak? No? No repeat? No? Any second comments? No. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. Why don't we go on to do the next, since we just had all those comments, get the presentation, and then we'll take a break after that before we start the next one. Is that okay with everybody on the board? So, we next have a presentation, update on the New Hampshire DOT project number 13080, Route 108 bike lane shoulder widening. NHDOT project manager Ronald Grandmaison. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
And just as Mr. Grandmaison is getting ready, we're very pleased to host this presentation tonight. We, as a town, receive many requests each year about the status of the improvements along Route 108 between Durham and Newmarket. And we have, for many years, responded that the project is scheduled, but it has been delayed because of funding challenges at the state level. And we reached out through the Department of Public Works to Mr. Grandmaison to get an update on the status of the project and asked whether he'd be willing to come and provide a forum for the community, an update to the community on the project. And so we're really pleased that he's agreed to do so and that we can share this information with our neighbors in the Newmarket.
Thank you very much, Administrator Selig and Chairman Goose, members of the Town Council, and members of the public. Hearing all of the votes of support, it's great. I just want to say that remember this space, because this is the one that's going to get it built. I do want to introduce somebody. She might kill me afterwards, but I have with me Wendy Johnson, who's one of our senior consultant design supervisors, who is going to be overseeing the consultant that's doing the work on this. She's very knowledgeable with regard to this project. It has been around for a long time, but like I said, the team of us, as well as Clough Harbor and Associates, who's the consultant that's on board to do this work, will get this job done. I know that you've been hearing that. Just disregard what everybody else said. We're going to get it done. That being said, I'd like to actually give a little bit of a preview of the plan. For those of you that don't know how to read plans, what we have is 108 in Durham and Newmarket. North is from left to right. So coming through Newmarket, we have the Newmarket town line, and then it proceeds north all the way through Bennett Road and Hammelbrook, and then all the way down into where we are, actually way down here in the corner, just past the river. I do want to say that the colors represent certain things. The blue is, of course, water. We have the Lamprey River and the Oyster River. Yellow is areas where we're doing pavement improvements. We're going to be putting down new pavement. The dark green is slope work, and you can see that in this area here. This actually is a slope easement, and that's why it's gray. We have the lighter green is wooded areas. We have red for buildings and other structures. The orange areas, those are driveway improvements. They could be either gravel, extensions of gravel, or some paved aprons. We have sort of a, I guess you could say a teal. Those are like concrete islands. You have brown, which is the shoulders, the bike shoulders that we're going to be putting on here. We have some drainage crossings here. Some of the other colors are purple, especially you can see it down in the Newmarket area. You have sidewalks on both sides of the roadway. Those are sidewalks, and they do extend up to the Durham Newmarket town line on both sides, and then it extends on the it would be the east side up to Stagecoach Road, and we do have some other ones that we're doing down by Durham Point Road. Any other colors that I can think of?
How about the white areas parallel to the road? Are those drainage easements?
White areas parallel to the roads. These are generally areas that we're clearing because we're doing slope work, and if we are actually cutting into the ground, a lot of times you'll disturb the root systems of trees. You actually have to take those out. So those are actually clearing areas in a lot of the places. In this particular case, it's just a matter of we're not doing any work there. So it's actually in between the existing trees and the slope work that we're going to be doing. So really, it's a lot of the places doesn't have any significance at all. This little, I guess, cross-hatched area that's blue, those are wetlands, seasonal wetlands. Sometimes there's standing water in them as well. Then you have the property lines for any of the parcels. There's some very large parcels in the center portion. I hope you're not holding me to the 5 minutes.
Oh, no, this is public comments. You can take 7.5.
7.5 will work.
Okay.
In order to get this this project out into the public, we wanted to get something on the ground quickly. I apologize that it hasn't been quicker that I came out. I see some faces that I recognize, and then when I see them come up and they introduce themselves, I'm able to put names with faces now, Mr. Pesci, Mr. Ambrosi. Talk to some people on the phone. Now I've given business cards out as well. I'm going to be the contact, and we're going to make sure that this gets done. The center portion of this project has approximately 22 impacted parcels, which means we need anywhere from a drainage easement to a slope easement, some kind of an impact to somebody's property. So we have 22 in the center portion. We have an additional 70 on the outlying sections. That's the biggest time constraint that we have right now. So being able to break it up into manageable sections is how we're looking to do this. If you look just to the north of Stagecoach Road, you'll see a little flag up the top that says begin construction for 13080A. That goes all the way down to Durham Point Road where you end construction. That's the first portion of the project that we plan to put out in 2014 construction. After that point, we'd be doing we continue the design when this is out in construction, continue the design for the other two sections. So if I just wanted to, again, reiterate a thank you. I'm not going to bore you with the background because most of you probably know more than I do. And then you'll catch me in something that I don't know anything about. So I'm going to get into the right-of-way acquisition process. Right now we have right-of-way plans in our possession from the consultant. They came on board June 10th of this past year, and they've been working diligently to get plans to us. From this point, our plans will go down to our in-house right-of-way designers, agents, appraisers, and title abstractors, and they're going to go out and they're going to start the appraisal process for the impacted parcels based on those plans. They'll concentrate mostly on the center portion, and I want to thank Mr. Lynch for offering, just in case, if he needs to have a friendly face out there with some of our agents, he offered to go with us. I don't know if you knew that, Mr. Selleck. So we'll be focusing mostly on that center portion, appraisals, and then right-of-way agents to negotiate with property owners for any rights that we may need in those areas. It's nice to hear the votes of confidence that we really need to get this done, and we tend to agree. We'll talk a little bit about environmental review and findings. Existing conditions, a lot of you know that already, so I'm not going to bore you with those. Proposed improvements, I'll touch a little bit on those, and then of course the costs and schedules are the most important part. Project limits, I think I pretty much explained. We're going to be coming from all the way down in Newmarket and all the way through to right about the street right out here. So you'll know Mill Pond Road right here in Durham. It's about 3.7 miles. It's been a long, arduous journey, and as Mr. Pesci said, degradation of the pavement structure and all that has increased the costs considerably. So you've had a transportation enhancement project that turned into a full reconstruction project. So, and that's mainly because it's been around for so long. I'm not going to bore you with excuses. I'm just focused on moving ahead. At the end of this, we have a website. My name, my phone number is on there. If you have a question, a concern, you want to hear some of the excuses, feel free to call me, and we'll discuss it further. Project background and need, again, transportation enhancement project. I really don't want to bore you with that. This presentation is on our website, so if you do have a question, you can take a look at that. Original design was back a long time ago. Rizzo and Associates actually had a successful public hearing back in July of 2005. Report of the commissioner with all the resolution of issues was confirmed in 2007. It was opted to go for an in-house design, but we've gone outside due to staffing and resources. Right now, Clough Harbor and Associates is the consultant that's on board. We have in-house review staff. We have in-house right-of-way staff, environmental staff, and the utility relocation and coordination staff as well. Again, the right-of-way process, appraisals, land agents, title abstracting, et cetera, is actually commencing as we speak because we do have right-of-way plans in-house. Environmental review, again, this is quite a significant area for watersheds. Been in discussion with Fish and Game, who owns 2 parcels along this area, actually 3 parcels, and trying to work out and negotiate some settlements with them regarding right-of-way as well as the known issue of turtle mortality along this section of roadway, possibility of increasing some of the culvert sizes along their property in order to allow for more flow, as well as the turtles and amphibian crossings. You have 3 historic districts throughout this area, so we will have historic people out there doing some evaluations of properties, et cetera, based on impacts that we have. And then we will, of course, need a wetland permit for the impacts that we're going to have. Everybody was wanting to know schedule. And one of the reasons why I was reluctant to come out before now was because I couldn't give you a schedule. We were in the process of trying to negotiate with a consultant, and they hadn't come on board in order to buy into the project and buy into the schedule. So now I can unequivocally tell you that the latest we will possibly advertise this project is April of 2014 in order to construct in 2014. It's not to say that that's the true ad date, but it will not go beyond that. I was told that that is the case. That way we will at least be able to begin construction in June of 2014. That's the very latest that we will begin construction out there. Price tag has creeped up considerably. This section is $2.42 million, 80% federal, 20% state. As you can see, right-of-way acquisition, final design plans. Those really are the right-of-way acquisition, utility relocations. Those are the design components that are critical from a time standpoint. But that's the A job. The B job, which is the other sections, the other 2 sections combined, $4.6 million. 80% federal, 20% state, no town funds again. Final design plans will be finishing up in 2013 and 14. Advertised for bids in September of 2014. Hopefully we'll have some good competitive bidding for that second portion as well as for the first portion to be able to begin construction in April 2015 at the latest. Hammelbrook Bridge. We know that there are some flooding issues, and I have to admit that Mr. Lynch has a compelling argument, and I want to thank him immeasurably for the amount of information that he's given me in the short 2 or 3 times that we've discussed things. The intent at one point was that an estimate was developed for replacement of this Hammelbrook Bridge, which really is a culvert at the time. Developed a rough estimate for PE right-of-way and construction, and would allow the town to enter into an agreement or develop an application for a Homeland Security or a FEMA grant. At the request of Mr. Lynch, he said, that would be fine if we would have municipally managed that. However, we can't match it with any funds. We have no funding for it. So I asked my director if it was possible for our staff to go ahead and do that application and go through the process of trying to get the additional funds necessary for a replacement of that bridge. The unfortunate thing is the funding for that is not within the A and the B project as it currently stands. However, we will be putting in that application for when it's feasible and when it's available, which I believe is June to December of 2013 is when the application process is. Hopefully I'm not incorrect on that. And we'll be able to put in for a grant to see if we can actually see if we can't find some money to do that project as well as the 2 projects that you have going forward with your FEMA applications. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I hate to interrupt you with that, but
No,
I'm looking
absolutely.
at this thinking to myself, has this been approved completely by the state and federal funding? I mean, is this a done deal in terms of the funding, or?
For the A and the B project,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It has?
Absolutely.
Okay.
This is in our 10-year plan, this is in our STIP, which is our transportation improvement plan. That, I'm not even sure what the exact total is right now.
That's okay, as long as I know it's been approved.
6 point something or 7 point something, it is approved. And we are planning on the A and the B project, with the exception of a complete replacement of the Hamilbrook Bridge. As it stands right now, the Hamilbrook Bridge will get a surface treatment, which is, I think they're removing the pavement, doing membrane, and then doing the overlay, as well as the guardrail improvements. However, if we are successful with the application, we will not do that, and we will do the complete replacement.
Thank you.
On this Hamilbrook Bridge, this is a new box culvert that was put in a few years ago, wasn't it?
I'm not sure when it was put in, to be honest with you.
Because the old culvert kept washing out, and I thought DOT just ripped up everything, and that's fairly new.
I don't know any of the
Okay.
history of the Hamilbrook Bridge, I apologize.
Yeah, we're not used to hearing it referred to as a bridge.
I only refer to it as a bridge because the previous project manager was a bridge designer. He had somebody do some concepts to replace it as a bridge. So we still, I guess we consider it a box culvert. We've always referred to it, since I've taken over as project manager in 2010, as the Hamilbrook Bridge.
Yeah. Is the problem that it's not wide enough for the bike lane and the roadway improvements?
No, it's the majority of the problem is the fact that it doesn't pass the flow that it needs to pass.
All right.
Right now, Mr. Lynch had shared with us some photos back in the '07, the Patriots Day flood, and showed us some of the damage that was caused by
The commingling of the oyster and the lamprey.
Exactly, but the commingling also happens, further down along the flats area as well.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
But the majority of it, where it comes through and it actually tries to get back to the oyster, it overtops, and that's
Yep.
where you have the problems. Yeah. If I can move forward from Hamilbrook. Some of the coordination that will be required with the town, sidewalk maintenance agreements, since we're putting in sidewalks, and then a municipal work zone agreement is something new that we've started doing over the last couple of years, which more or less just says that while we're here, we have the rights to control the traffic as we deem necessary, whether it would be with uniformed officers or whether it would be with flaggers. We do not discount anything from, the fire department or the police saying that there are unsafe situations. We take all of those things into account, but we just want to make sure that we aren't hampered in what we're trying to do and getting out of there as quickly as possible. This is it for my slideshow, but I'd like to go through a little bit of the plan here. Plans in the presentation are not necessarily available right now, but they will within the next day or two. You go into that area and you'll also be able to see all of my contact information if you want to contact me. A couple of things, key points that I wanted to point out are we're putting in bike shoulders on both sides of 108 all the way through from Newmarket all the way down into Durham. Varying pavement treatments. Some of the areas are going to be inlays, meaning we take up some pavement and then we put pavement back in its place. Some of them are going to be overlays. Then we have full box reconstruction, meaning we rip out all the old pavement, rip up everything underneath it, put in new structural material. Some of the pictures that Mr. Lynch had cobbles, stone cobbles underneath. We'll be taking those out, putting down crushed gravel, sand, and gravel. A better structural base. And as Mr. Pesci and some of the other people have noted, We will be putting in established bus stops through this area. I actually called Wildcat Transit a couple days ago, actually last week, to set up a meeting to go out and actually review the areas that we have currently proposed on the plans to see if they make sense. If perhaps we should shift some here or there, not considerably, but you know, just from one side of a driveway to another. There is one area where I noticed, actually right here in front of the boat company, where it actually straddles an entrance, a drive entrance into a property. We tend to like to shift it a little bit, and driving out there today, we noticed that it was a little bit off of that area anyway. So if we can shift it away, little things like that, I'd like to do some coordination with them. We have those established bus pullouts, improved drainage in a lot of the places. I think the majority of the drainage will be upsized in one shape or form. A couple of them will become box culverts most likely. We have some negotiations going on with Fish and Game as far as the turtle mortality, possibility of turtle ballast to make sure that they don't nest on the side of the road. And then some intersection improvements, Bennett Road, Durham Point Road, Long Marsh, trying to establish those areas a little bit better. And then, if I can think of, like I said, sidewalks will be going both sides all the way up to the Durham Newmarket town line, and then on the west side, east side, all the way up to Stagecoach Road, and then additional down near Durham Point Road. And I think that's just about all I have to say at the moment, unless you jog my memory and make me think of something else.
What's a time frame for A, for completion?
We anticipate it being a one-season job unless it starts in June. Then we will probably run into the following, you know, May or June.
And B starting in 2015, so.
It'll advertise most likely the fall of 2014 if they want to get out there and do a little bit of prep work, get their stormwater pollution prevention plans in place, get all the approvals out of the way. They could hit the ground running, hopefully, in 2015.
And that time frame for that completion is one season or two?
We're hoping one season, and that's where we actually have a little bit more work to go. I know the Federal Highway Administration likes to have us try and lay out construction timelines as well. We try and give them enough time so that they can build it. Sometimes they like to accelerate things, the contractors that is, and if we put too much of a pinch on them, then the price tends to go up, and we tend to lose some value in that. However, we will be in coordination with the town further, Mr. Lynch, Mr. Selig, regarding coordination issues, as well as trying to accelerate certain portions if you feel that certain portions are more important than others, and trying to get this process going through. One of the other things that I do want to say is this is not the last time you're going to see me. Whether you like it or not, I'm going to come out and we're going to do a public informational, probably in a bigger forum that would allow a question and answer session, since it's been around for so long, and there haven't been as many answers as everybody would like to hear. So I will be doing those, probably one in the Newmarket area and one in Durham, just to get the word out, just to allow people to talk, so you can see my face and see what we're doing, and that we're really committed to doing this now.
Thank you. I'd like to kind of keep it brief, okay, because if you could, I'd like to start the next thing at 9. I'd like to take a 10-minute break before, so we can do that.
Mr. Grandmaison, I think Mike Hoffman alluded to the fact of the flooding that we've had on many occasions in this area. Has any studies been done as far as creating a floodplain on the east side of the Lamprey River to allow that to happen naturally?
We do unfortunately have some conveyance and some, I'm not sure what the other term is. We have some restrictions that are put on us because of the Nature Conservancy and Fish and Game and the funding that they used in order to purchase those particular parcels. They used grants from NOAA, I believe. which doesn't allow us to fill in certain areas. It does allow us to increase the size of some of the culverts, et cetera. But I don't want to get into too much detail on that because I want to make sure that my specifics are right. But I do know that unfortunately creating a floodplain outside of project limits tends to go above and beyond the original scope, which the original scope in this particular case was transportation enhancement. So I really shouldn't be talking, should I? But going out and beyond what we're doing, we are going to be raising the profile a little bit in those areas, so it should help out a little bit. But we didn't do a full-blown study on that. But I can get back to you with what information we do have.
Thank you. Does everybody feel comfortable enough now? It's a good presentation. I think, specific questions. It's going to be ongoing. He's going to be back.
I will definitely
Again,
be
I
back.
think we'll have significant questions, more questions.
Can I just
Sure.
just a few brief comments?
Absolutely.
One, I just can't understate the importance of the Hammelbrook problem, that it impacts regional traffic, it redirects that traffic onto Durham Point Road, which is not in any way, shape, or form designed to withstand that kind of an impact, particularly during a flooding situation. And we have significant issues with residents who become stranded in certain parts of town. And the town is pursuing improvements along Bennett Road and Long Marsh Road to deal with flooding issues, and we're really counting on NHDOT to help us on Route 108, which is a state road.
We will help you in any way we possibly can. Again, there's a funding issue currently, but if we can somehow secure a grant, and I have every confidence in our staff in order to be able to get a successful application through. As soon as we hear, then we will be in coordination with you throughout the application process so that the three of our applications can sort of strengthen each other's position on those.
And then just sort of looking back over a 15-year time horizon, a lot of time was spent in the early stages of this project on design work, and I have to compliment NHDOT for working with the town of Durham, particularly within our historic district, because we were concerned about the impacts, and they were very considerate of the town's needs. Then DOT ran into right-of-way issues, which caused delays years ago. There were then funding constraints that DOT had to deal with. There were staffing changes at DOT. We then had numerous flooding incidents, which created the discussion around Hammelbrook, and then renewed funding constraints. So NHDOT has been working to try to address this, but there have been limitations on their end. And then I just wanted to reiterate the Public Works Director's commitment to work with you in terms of contacting residences along the route of this. If there are issues with right-of-way issues, we would very much be willing to help you express to those folks the importance of the project to the overall community. And then finally, I just want to note that Chris Clement, who is the DOT Commissioner, actually stopped in prior to this session this evening just to make sure that Mr. Grandmaison was here, that we were ready to go, and that we all had everything we needed. So I just want to point that out.
I just want to make one last comment, if I may, and that is, we have legislators here. Are they able to put anything forward in terms of a Hamel Bridge project, in terms of?
I will look into that.
Yeah.
I don't want to pull out any cards yet. I want to make sure that there is that funding sitting there, waiting to be appropriated. As soon as the application process starts in earnest, then I will probably be asking for assistance from the commissioner and the directors of the DOT to possibly do some outreach to try and secure funding for that.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.